I started writing this record on April 22nd, and by May 22nd, every song was finished. I wrote 8 songs in a span of 4 weeks, which is the fastest that I've ever written a batch of songs, and probably the fastest that I ever will write a batch of songs, just because I'd let the emotion of what I was going through at the time just completely consume me, which I do not recommend. It was horrible for my mental health. But at least I got some great songs out of it. I narrowed it down to the 4 best ones, and that's what you hear on the record. Reina de las Serpientes was written in about 30 minutes. I came up with a little acoustic guitar riff that the song is based around when I was at my dad's house, and then I took my iPad and then recorded it on there, 8 bars of it, and then let it sit for a while, kind of forgot about it, and came back to it once I knew that I wanted to write this song. I had the concept for a little while, and I decided to finally put pen on paper, write some lyrics, and create a structure around it. So I built every other aspect of the song upon that foundation, that D minor to the C major, and it came together really quickly, and I think the best songs do. There's some variations in there to keep it interesting. I wanted to challenge myself to A, write a song with Spanish in it, and B, use the song as a sort of tongue-in-cheek way to make fun of people like Bad Bunny, people who make the same dog shit song over and over again, and people just go crazy for it, which I never understood. But they got millions of fans and I don't, so I guess they're doing something right. Or are they? Or are they? Or are they?
I gave you everything I had, but it was never enough. And then you said goodbye. I watched the flower die.
Strangers of the Spring is the second track on the record, and it was really a challenge to do on the production side of things, because I really sort of had to toss out everything I knew about mixing a song, just because I've mostly done rock music or music based around rock and roll, which has a certain production technique, but when you move into pop territory, there's different things that you need to add to sort of thicken it up, make it lively, spice it up a little bit. So mostly I would just use my instinct to try something different. I just did what sounded right, which is what I always do anyway. But I think it came out really well. The verse and the chorus went through a lot of changes before I finally settled on what it was. I think I've tried about 3 different verses and 2 different choruses at least. And what you hear on the final product is the one that I didn't get tired of. The other ones I was getting tired of pretty quickly. I knew it was weak when I would listen back to it. But everything else came together really quickly. This was also pretty inspired. I knew I wanted something really upbeat, something you could tap your foot to for sure. This was the first time I'd incorporated some pretty concrete lyrical themes into a song of mine. In the past, I've gravitated toward a lot of veiled ambiguity in what I'm saying, but this time I needed to take the opposite approach and make it pretty cut and dry. It's still pretty metaphorical when you really look at it, there's some recurring motifs, the butterfly, flowers, dead flowers, springtime, things like that, which symbolize, which kind of mirror the things that I went through in real life, which, shouldn't be hard to figure out at all. It's not hidden very well, but that's intentional. I knew I needed at least one heavy track on this record, and I knew it was going to be the title track. I've had the name Let the Blood Flow in my head since the moment I decided to make this EP. So the title had been floating around in my head for a long time before I actually sat down and wrote the riffs. And all the riffs came to me in about 15 minutes tops. I was just sitting in my studio with my Jackson Drop C Flying V in my hands. And I wrote every riff one after another. And when I came back to it a few days later, the structure of the song was pretty clear to me. I had the verse, the intro, the bridge, everything. I just had to, kind of get rid of the fluff. And there it was, Let the Blood Flow was born, and it was really good. I'm in love with the way it turned out. It's one of my best songs, for sure. I had known with this song, and with this entire record actually, I wanted to mix a little bit of a Latin flavor with it. And the bridge of this song, Let the Blood Flow, is probably the best example. And the intro too, it's a very Spanish influenced, finger-picked riff to start it out, but the bridge is probably my favorite part, and the Latin percussion with the very Rush-esque bass guitar in the background with the Santana-ish solo, if I may say, came together really well. The acoustic intro was my idea. I knew I wanted to start off soft and pleasant, and I'd kind of gotten stuck on the transition to the heavy part of the song. And my boy Sean, who plays bass on the record, actually gave me the idea to do a Metallica fade in, a la Blackened, and I love that idea. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do that. That's what it's gonna be. I'm doing that. Yep. Guitars fading in. So when you hear the lead guitar fading in, that's actually the lead verse riff reversed, so it sounds cool. If you want something to sound cool, just reverse it, and which leads into the main part of the song, and it worked, and I loved it. Boom. That was it. Let the blood flow. Toward the end of the writing process, everything really started to just take a toll on me. So by the end, I was just happy it was over. I was mixing, putting the finishing touches on everything, and I just couldn't wait to get it done. I had to just get it out there. I couldn't live with it any longer. It had to be all of your burden, not mine. It's... But to be honest with you, from a songwriting perspective, it's the most inspired that I've ever been, and I think that shows through in the songs. I Will Not, I think, has been a song that's always been inside of me, but was just waiting for a certain set of circumstances to reveal itself. Sadly, that very specific set of circumstances actually happened. I'm just kidding. I'm over it. I don't care. Can we take a break? Can we take a break? Break time, right? The musical idea for it came to me when I sat at the piano, and the first chord I played was a D minor triad, followed by a C major, and did that for 8 bars, and the words just came to me with the vocal melody, you know, you threw away everything that we could be. And I knew right away that the song was gonna hit. So I had to sort of open myself up a bit to allow myself to receive the message. And as a songwriter, you kind of go like, oh, this is gonna go there and I don't wanna have to go there, but if I want this to be a great song, I'm gonna have to go there, so. I'm proud of the solo I ripped on it. I did a lot of takes and nothing was nearly as good as the first one that I did. I might have done it like 30 more times after that and messed up every time. The first one was the best one that had the most feeling. That's the one that's on the record. I'm also really happy with the way my voice sounds on it. During my career up to this point, I've kind of resisted the urge to belt it, you know, as you would call it. And I think this is the first time I've done that on record. And it sounds really good, but I was a little bit self-conscious of it at the time, just because no one's heard me really do that. So that's why the vocals are a little bit low in the mix, especially on the chorus. But you know, now that I've had a chance to live with it for 6 months or so, I'm really happy with it. I wish I would have turned it up louder, but you know, that's in my bag. I'm really happy with how far my voice has come over the years. The inspiration that possessed me, for lack of a better term, when I was writing this song, and so many other ones, is what makes me think that songwriting is a divine process. It's a gift from God that I'm able to tap into this energy and make art out of it. I am a vessel for His will, and His will is for this music to exist in the world.